Hello and welcome to English 103, College Reading and Writing Advanced. I'm Dr. Tirrell and I'll be your instructor this semester. The purpose of this video is to give you an introduction to the course website, which contains information about course policies, assignments, and due dates. This is a hybrid section of 103, which means that ordinarily we'll have one course meeting per week in our classroom. For us, that will occur on Tuesdays from 12:30 to 1:45 in Morton Hall, room 205. We'll also have one course meeting that takes place online, and that'll encompass tasks you'll accomplish independently or occasionally synchronous interactions. Because of this, the course website is absolutely crucial. So after watching this video, make sure you familiarize yourself with it thoroughly. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. So this is it. It's a Blackboard site. You may not have experience with Blackboard if you're an incoming freshman. But some of your other courses may use it. So you're familiar with how it works, right? We've got the navigation over here. You know that it plugs into some of your other courses in terms of announcements and that kind of thing. But it works and looks pretty much like all the others. There may be one or two quirks, and we'll go over those now. But otherwise, it's largely consistent. Our landing page is this announcements page. That's sort of the home. And that's where I will put updates and any changes and that kind of thing. Also, when I send announcements, you get those separately as well. You're notified. I believe it emails you unless you change the settings that there's an announcement as well. So you'll be notified of changes. Those will all essentially just sort of stack here. Right now, all we've got is this welcome message that directs you to the other components of the website, like the schedule and the syllabus and that kind of thing. So that's that. The syllabus, that's important. We're not going to pour over that right now, but you should read this thoroughly. It's where all the policies are, grading and late work and absences and all that kind of stuff. Student learning outcomes, that's all in the syllabus. It also gives you information about things like, time and location, but my office and my office hours, which are Tuesday and Thursday from 2 to 4 in Morton 161. You can also email me, or you can make an appointment if those don't work out for you. You're going to be signing a course contract that indicates that you understand and accept those policies. You need to do that to stay in the course. I don't think there's anything in the policies that is onerous. If you have a real issue with anything in the policies, just come talk to me, but I don't think there's anything in there unusual. There are no curveballs. One thing to be aware of is the book. You need the book immediately. You should have it, from the get-go. You can get it anywhere. It's The World is a Text, 4th edition. Let me show you what it looks like. Oh, can't do that there. This is what it looks like. You can get it from our bookstore. You can get it from Amazon. You can get it from a rental place like Chegg. I don't really care how you get it. You just need it quickly. You should be aware that if you get an electronic version or anything like that, there's no resale on that. They're cheaper, but there's no resale. Same is true for rentals. There will also be other readings provided by me, but they're just going to be linked on the course website, so you don't have to worry about that. The book's all you need for materials. So that's pretty much the gist of the syllabus. As I said, you do want to read this because you're going to abide by those policies and you're going to sign a course contract indicating as much. Okay, the schedule here, we'll return to that in a bit because we're going to spend more time there. Let's take a look at this assignment section. You can see all this has is links to sort of subpages, and then it's repeated over here. You can see these indented links are the same as over here. It's the same link. It doesn't really matter. These are, this is information about the components of the grade. As you can see in the syllabus, there are different grade components. 4 major sort of essay projects that are 20% of the overall course grade, and then 2 components that are 10% each. Those are engagement assignments and reading responses. So what are those? Engagement assignments, those are just little things we do inside and outside of class necessary for the progress of the course. So we're going to be doing one right away. The personal introductions post, that's an engagement assignment. And we're going to go over that in this video. When you do things like, submit drafts and do peer review, all of that is engagement assignments. So collectively, that's 10% of your course grade. So that's a big chunk. That's a letter grade, basically. So you want to make sure you're keeping up with those. Reading responses, those are explicitly writing you will do in response to an assigned reading. So those are all on the calendar. There are, I believe, 6 of them. We'll see when we look at the schedule here in a little bit. So you know when they are, you know what they're going to cover, and you're going to be doing writing and sort of sharing about that. It's basically, reading material and then sharing it. It's a way to not only make sure we're all kind of keeping up with the material, which is necessary because it's a discussion-focused class, but it also has you engage sort of before we move into discussion so that you have stuff to say. There's some general tips here for doing reading responses. There are probably things that you would know, things like composing by the deadline, make sure you have it in on time, hit the length requirement. Length requirements are a little bit subjective. They're not arbitrary, but they are subjective. But they're based on experience in terms of how much you should produce to be dealing with the work at a particular depth. Make sure to to account for the complete prompt. So if it says do this, do that. This isn't free write. You want to do what you're actually being asked to do because we're going to use that when we discuss. As much as possible, you want to reference concrete specifics to demonstrate your engagement with the material. It's not just proving that you read, although that's part of it, but it's also concrete specifics are almost always stronger than ambiguous generalities. When you can point to actual concrete specifics, you can start taking things apart rhetorically and looking at how ideas are being actually constructed through language. So concrete specifics almost always trumps generalities. And then grammar and structure, those are important. Even though this is not a formal essay, it's a reading response, you do want to get in the habit of doing academic writing. So what's called Edited American English, or EAE, and just working things into a coherent structure, not just free association. That's not really what this is. It's a place to both think and then collect your thoughts into a coherent narrative. The one I skipped over here because it's a little bit unusual, it's not one you maybe would think of, it's that it's a good idea to compose your responses in a separate program and then paste them into the submission form. We're going to be using electronic submission forms here, linked in Blackboard. So it's always a good idea to compose externally and then copy and paste it over. Whoops. There are a few reasons why. Probably the best one is so that you don't lose anything. If you're typing away, you're doing your responses, and all of a sudden your computer freezes, it's gone. If you're just typing this into the blank and you hit submit and it just pulls up a white page or it crashes, it's gone, right? So you guys all grew up, at least in the milieu of computers, whether or not you were personally using one all the time. So you should know about the importance of backup. Save as you're working. Do something like your shared drive. What is that for you guys? Timmy, maybe? I think it's Sammy for me. Or, a little USB flash drive or something. Just save as you're going. And whenever you're finished, just copy this and paste it over. That way, there's never any chance you're going to lose anything. That also means you're keeping a copy of all your responses, which is useful because, we may need to pull those out in class to talk about things. It's just always better to retain your own material. Okay, so that's the gist of that. I've also linked our experience essay. That's our first main project. We're not going to go over that right now, although you will be reading it here in just a couple of days. But you can kind of see how these essay things break down. We've got a summary, we've got parameters, so things like, citation format, the processes we're going to go through, grade weight for the elements that pertain to that. You'll notice there's more processes, but not all of these are reflected in this essay grade. Like drafting, that's an engagement assignment. It's not this. Whereas something like the intention document, that is included in this. And then we've got the rubric for the final version of the essay. That's the gist of how that works. I'll link the other essay information pages when we're dealing with them. It just makes sense to kind of go along all together rather than dump it all here and then let you weed through it. So now let's return to the schedule. This is the thing that's probably, it's not most important necessarily, but you're certainly going to be using it perhaps more than the others. The others you'll dip into periodically. This, since this is a hybrid section, one day in class, one day out, it really means the onus is on you to keep up with the course and to do things that are assigned for online periods. So the schedule really helps because all you have to do is follow this. That's all you have to do. It's all right here. You don't have to worry about different modules and this and that. This is everything. You just have to follow along and click, basically, and you'll keep up. So let me break this down, how it works. As it says, gray rows indicate our online periods, which are Tuesdays. Or excuse me, Thursdays. No, let me edit that. White rows indicate in-class periods, which are Tuesdays. So, for example, August 18th, that's a Thursday. It's an online period, so you're going to watch this course introduction video. You're going to submit the personal introductions post. Then it alternates from there. There's a Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, and that also indicates online in class, online in class. So that's what those mean. You can kind of see how the columns work. We've got the date over here. It's self-explanatory. This one, maybe, don't let this throw you. You'll get the hang of this almost immediately. But there are things that are due at the start of class, whether we're doing it in person or whether we're doing it online. There's just stuff due at that time. So let's look at how that works. This is our first period, so we don't have anything due there. But we can see for the 23rd, we know, okay, that's a Tuesday. It's a white row, so it's in class period. At 12:30, so before class, I need to print and sign the course contract, which is linked right there. I need to read the introduction in my book, pages 1 through 24, and I need to read the experience essay information. Okay, so I need to have that done before then. Notice you'll also have stuff due during online periods. So by 12:30, I need to have read both of these things, and I need to submit the experience essay intention document and this experience essay ideas form. Both of these will be linked. They're not right now because we go a step at a time. But hopefully that's self-explanatory. It just means that stuff is due at the, quote unquote, beginning of class, whether we're actually meeting or whether it's an online period. And mostly during online periods, as you can see, you're just doing tasks independently. We're not like meeting online all at the same time. I can't require you to do that. So on the 25th here, you're going to independently be doing peer review for essay ideas for your classmates. That's how that's going to work. You can see this at the agenda column, so it tells you exactly what we're going to be doing during that period. If you happen to miss a class or whatever, you don't have to email me and say, did we do anything important? Don't email anybody and ask that because, it's a weird question. No, we didn't do anything important. It was a blow-off day. But everything is here, so you can just look and see what happened, right? The other question sometimes folks have, this is an online period, right? So when is this thing due, this peer review activity? When am I supposed to have that done? I don't see it over here. So what's the due date? As it says up here, unless otherwise indicated, agenda items scheduled for online periods are due before midnight of the same day. So you have all day. You have until midnight, technically 11:59, to do the peer review activity. It's online. You won't see anybody. You just need to have that done before midnight. And you can kind of see how these work together because what's going to happen is we're going to turn in our essay ideas before 12:30, and then we're going to spend the rest of the day doing this. I mean, it won't take you all day. It'll take you a few minutes. But that's the way to think of things. We still have a class on Thursday. It's just that, it basically takes place during the entire day. This may sound a little confusing. It isn't. You'll pick it up almost immediately. It'll take you 1 or 2 weeks to pick this up. The only thing is, since I only see you guys, once per week, it does mean you do have to stay up with things because, I can't do that for you. I just don't see you all the time. You have to be on top of things electronically. I do want to walk through just sort of a sample to sort of make this tangible and concrete, because as I say, telling you abstractly, here's how things work, that helps a little bit, but let's walk through some concretes and actually see how this functions practically. You can see for today, well, depending when you're watching this, for the 18th, our first period, you should watch this course introduction video. You're already doing it, so that's fantastic. The other thing you want to have done by midnight of the 18th is you want to submit the personal introduction post. As I said, everything's going to be linked up as we go along. Right now, there are only a few links because I just do it, a couple of weeks out. Everything you need to complete will be linked, so you don't have to worry about it. Just need to click here. And here's a form. This one is not inside Blackboard. This is technically a Google form. Sometimes I do that just because Blackboard makes it a little tricky to handle things that are ungraded. Or it makes you, grade question by question. It's just a little, obtuse for that. It's a little coarse for those things. So sometimes I'll use different things like a Google form like I do here. The good news is, no matter what, you just have to click and then do it. So our personal introductions post, you can see the blanks here. You've got your name. And now, because I know I should write in an external program, I can answer these questions. Introduction, a few sentences about yourself, including personal interests and possible major. So, I'd write that here. And I would put actual content, of course, rather than this, because I would read it. And I'm going to save. And I'm going to answer all the other questions. Expectations, fit. This one that asks you for a question about the course so far. I do all of those here. And then I'm just going to copy and paste them over. Right? That's all you have to do. And now here's the good news. What happens if I spend all this time doing it and I accidentally hit submit too early? It's not going to let you submit until you answer the required questions. So you never get in a situation where you did it all, but you forgot to put your name on it, so you're not going to get credit. It's not going to let you. You have to. You have to do this. So fill the rest of these out. Now I'll click submit. And it tells me it's been recorded. Some of them, it'll let you edit your response if you accidentally, made a mistake or you want to add something here or there. You can edit it and then submit it. So that's it. Once you're done, you're done. It's those two things by midnight of the 18th. And now I know, okay, before class on Tuesday, and we're going to be meeting, I need to print and sign this course contract. So let me click that. All this says is that you understand the policies. It gives you one opt-out. By default, student work may be used anonymously for teaching and research. If for whatever reason you don't want that, you just have to initial here. So I'm going to print this out, send it to my printer, fill it out, and then I'm just going to bring it into class. Okay, before class, I need to read my textbook. Well, that's okay. I just bought my textbook, so I can do that. And I need to read the information about the experience essay, and I'll do that before class time on Tuesday. That's all I have to do. Now, in class on Tuesday, what are we going to do? We're going to introduce the course. We're going to discuss the introduction, and we're going to introduce the experience essay. And I just read stuff about that. So you can see how these work together. We're going to be reading this stuff because we're going to be talking about it in class. Okay, so that's how things go. That's pretty much how the entire rest of the semester will play out. The semester is pretty much mapped out here. Things aren't linked right now because, as I say, I just add the links as we go. It alleviates confusion. It means no one can accidentally submit too far ahead or this or that. It just sort of keeps us all in step. And I edit as we go, in case any changes need to be made. So That's pretty much the gist of it. You can see the components we've got here, the schedule, the different assignment information, the syllabus, which you do have to read, and then, of course, the announcements. One other thing to mention, you will have access to your grades here, but I don't add that until we have stuff. And even then, I'm kind of going to have to work out how we look at our grades in Blackboard. Because again, grades in Blackboard are a little dicey. They're a little resistant to doing things more holistically. They're really, Blackboard, I don't want to say anything bad about it, but it's a Swiss Army knife, so it has to accommodate every possible subject, which means when we're talking about our subject, composition, it's just inherently not as perfect as it could be. So you have to fudge Blackboard a little bit to get it to work for us. All right, that's it. This video's gone on long enough. Welcome to the course. I'm excited about it. The things you learn in a year, I'm very confident they will pay off throughout your education at the institution here, and then also going forward. Everyone has to write. There's really, no getting away from that. It may not pay off immediately, but going forward, the rhetorical stuff we do, it will help you out. This is a hybrid section, of course. What that means, if you haven't done one before, we meet in class on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, you're doing stuff online, usually independently. Sometimes we'll have synchronous stuff, but I'll work with your schedules for that. It does mean that you have to be more personally invested in the class. You have to take responsibility for your own success or failure. You're allowed to fail. If you want to do that or just scrape by, that can be a great learning tool as well. You are allowed to fail. That may be a new experience if you're just coming out of high school. I'm not going to chase you down. You're allowed to fail. Of course, keep in contact with me. Come to office hours, email me. My job is to help you with this. You have to be most invested in it, but I'm there. I'm a close second. That is my task. That's basically it. I hope you find the course to be challenging and rewarding. If you have any questions or anything, just shoot me an email. Come to office hours. I'm more than happy to talk to you at any point during the semester. I'm looking forward to it, and I will see you guys in class soon. Just make sure after watching this video that you keep up with the schedule here. You do the personal intro post, and then before Tuesday, print out that course contract. You read the introduction pages. You read the essay information. All right, I will see you guys soon.